Hi. I'm posting this for and about my boyfriend because he doesn't like to use Reddit. So here's the story. This is all from what he's told me, so it's a little spotty. My boyfriend, his family, mom, dad, 2 sisters, brother and 1 sister's friend, and I took a drive from NY to MT to visit their family. 3-day trip. The story starts when we begin our drive through Glacier National in Montana. A while before we even started up the mountain, my boyfriend was seeing things at night. We drove through some road work and he said he saw bears on top of his sister's car throwing traffic cones at him. Weird, but okay, we're tired. We stopped at a gas station for bathroom breaks. According to my BF we stopped after, but I firmly believe before, and snacks. Keep in mind it's about 4 am NY time, 2 am Mount time, and we had been driving since about 8 am. The gas station was run by Native American people, as once we hit the mountain we were on the reservation. Which I firmly believe resonates with the shit that happened. They also went into the station without masks and were told to get out or put masks on, and most everything that happened was seen by the people who went in without masks, save for 1 or 2 people, as once we left New York we were looked at weird for wearing a mask. We have 3 cars. My boyfriend's parents are in the front, first car. His 2 sisters, brother and friend and in the middle, and we're in the back, the last car. My boyfriend is driving and I'm in the passenger seat. I'm a bit tired, obviously. I told him I'd try to stay awake so he wasn't alone for the drive. But as soon as we started up the mountain I basically blacked out. Or, that's what he told me and that's what I believe. I could not be woken up. But the real fun started with the taillights of his sister's car turning into dancing Indians, as he described it. Almost taunting him. Then the sharks swimming in the road. The pavement turned into ocean and sharks swarmed the cars. At this point, as he says, he tries to wake me up, but I'm out cold. And I'm not too hard to wake up, especially in a car. He also says to keep himself awake he cranked the AC, turned down the window and cranked the radio. Oh, and we're in a 2006 Toyota Corolla with no muffler, so it's pretty loud. And he can't hear a thing. Everything was silent, he says. Everything was as loud as it could go and I couldn't hear anything. Then, the arms. He says he looked up into the sky and saw only what he could describe as giant arms reaching out of the sky to grab me, almost like God or someone was trying to take me. His dad, in the car in front of everyone, also saw these arms. Oh, and his sister too. Every driver saw some type of hallucination as the drive went on. Not everyone saw the same thing, but the arms, that's the one thing they agreed on. His mother told us she had also seen what she described as a priest, or a man standing on the side of the road watching us drive by. I'm still out cold. Until the moment we leave the park area, get of the mountain, I wake up like nothing happened. I see my boyfriend shaken up, cigarette. Now. Please. I shakily hand him one and he burns it down. I've never seen him that scared before. I tried to shake you awake so you could see what I was seeing, but it was like you were unconscious. Which, I don't remember a thing. To me I was asleep for 5 minutes, but it was more like an hour and some. He told me what he saw. I jokingly said, Wendigos. Maybe skinwalkers. He shoots me a look, don't say that. I say it was a joke, but from he told me I believe it was one of the 2 or something similar. We were on a reservation, after all. When we get to his relative's house we eventually tell them and they just smile and say, yeah, sounds about right. Or something like that. What the fuck? I just want and need to know if anyone's had any similar experiences with Glacier Mountain like that or in the general area. If I remember any key bits I'll come back and add in or just ask and maybe I can remember. This was like 2 years back. We were teenagers and like every teenager, we thought we knew everything. For the sake of this story and identity, I will call my friends Braden, DJ, Lewis, and Kyle as their names. Anyways, we were at Braden's house and it was night. His parents were sleeping. So his dumb teenagers came up with the idea of ding-dong ditching. DJ also came up with the idea to wear a ghillie suit. This was to see who could hide in a neighbor's yard the longest. As a team we voted for Lewis to wear it first, then Kyle, and me. We all decided to leave the house through Braden's room window. His room was ground level so we didn't have to jump. After Lewis with his ghillie suit went to a house that was like 4 streets away from Braden's house. He went to the door, ringed it and hid next to a bush. The rest of us watched from a distance. Then a guy that was like 5 feet 8 or 9 that was overweight walked out the door. He yelled, "Who is it?" And we all stayed quiet. He then turned around and said, "If this is a joke then fuck off," and closed the door, so everyone quietly yelled to Lewis to just leave the property. However, Lewis didn't listen. Instead he went to the door, rung it again, and hid in the same spot. Then the guy came back out, but he was holding a bat. He scanned his yard and saw Lewis. The man said, "What are you doing here?" and raised the bat. We immediately feared for Lewis, but Lewis with his quick thinking pushed him over, which was easy because Lewis for his age was already 6 foot anyway. Once he pushed him over and ran away. DJ and I followed Lewis while Braden and Kyle went for Braden's house, I assume. The reason Lewis didn't head for Braden's house was so that if he was being followed, Braden didn't get in trouble. Then the three of us ran 2 streets away from that house and further away from Braden's house. We then hid behind a different house whose lights were not on. We assumed this person or family was asleep. Then we saw a figure walk on the streets and was way skinnier, so we thought it was Kyle coming back for us, so we came out and whispered for Kyle to hide with us. However, our eyes soon met the eyes of a guy way older than us and said, "So you the ones ding-dong ditching?" Immediately we ran and went into a forest, not knowing where we were heading. Not one of us turned around. Lewis dived in a bush, so DJ and I did the same. We didn't see the man. Now that I look back, I think it was because he didn't want to do too much for a group of ding-dong ditchers. Now back to the story. Once we knew we had lost him, DJ took out his phone and saw 10 missed calls from Braden, so he called back and Braden immediately answered. He asked where we were and we gave our location. Braden asked if we were safe and answered no. He said why, and we answered that people knew who we were and what we did. Braden asked if he could help and we said no. After all, we wouldn't want more people getting involved. DJ hung up the phone and went on his Google Maps. Luckily we had a signal here. DJ started leading us out of the forest, and once we see about to head out, we saw a group of no more than 5 people walking with a flashlight, including the man we ding-dong ditched. He still had a bat and was pissed. We looked at each other and realized if we wanted to make it out unnoticed, we had to do it silently. So once they passed the street in front of the forest, we ran straight to Braden's, even passing the houses where the people still had lights on. But we didn't care, we just wanted to make it back alive. Once we made it back unnoticed, we answered Braden and Kyle's questions, then slept. There's more to the story, unfortunately, as when I was getting driven to my house, my mother pulled out her phone and had a screenshot of a post on the local neighborhood app saying, quote, "Just got ding-dong ditched by some teenager, consider themselves lucky because I would have taught them a lesson." This was posted minutes after we ding-dong ditched the house. Now it made sense why we saw that one guy and the people with flashlights. I have now moved on from this and have vowed to never ding-dong ditch again. So for the kids reading this, be safe and don't be dumb. Thank you for the great support, I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying what I'm doing, why not think about subscribing to my channel? It is free and would help me a great deal. When I was 17, in 2004, I lived in Nottingham. These were the days when I would be partying from Friday and away till Sunday. I will admit I did take a few drugs here and there, but this story I am about to tell you was not a hallucination. It was Sunday evening and I was at a friend's in the city center enjoying a few joints. Having work on a Monday, it was time for me to have a coffee to wake up for his journey home. After drinking the strong coffee, I said goodbye to my good friend and made my way to the bus stop for the 20-minute journey home. On the bus, I saw an old friend who lived close to where I lived at the time. She's a Wiccan and we got on very well and would talk and talk. She always said that she picked up on energies and can tell if someone else is sensitive or psychic, and said that I am empathic. I wouldn't say she is wrong. I have sensed things in the past, which I won't go into. However, this is what happened when we both got off the bus. As we both walked towards the ring road, there was an old garage station we had to pass on the way home. This had been closed down for about a month. As we both got closer to the garage, I felt this overwhelming sense of fear. My friend stopped and looked towards the garage and said she can see a man standing, in his underwear, just staring at her. She said that he looked scared and in disbelief of what happened. I could not see a thing, but I had a feeling of being drained. As if I have lost lots of blood. I felt sick with anxiety. My friend grabbed me by the arm and marched away towards home. She told me she saw the spirit of a man, who just died. She saw his face clear as day and told me that he couldn't believe what happened to him. He was devastated that it's all been taken away from him. But as I said, I did not see a thing. Couldn't see anyone at all in the area she was pointing. The following morning when I woke up, I went to work, did my shift and then went home. On the way home I passed the garage and it was cordoned off with police tape. I passed a gentleman, who told me that some guy was found dead in his underwear. The police reckons he may have been drunk and died of natural causes. Only to find out later, he was drugged. After hearing this, I felt terrible. My friend felt awful, and did go to the police with her statement. But they didn't really want to hear that she saw a ghost standing looking at her, with the disbelief that he has already died. This happened a few years ago at my friend's apartment that we both know was haunted. We decided if we could contact anything through an app some of my favorite paranormal investigators used on YouTube. I've always been skeptical about spirits communicating through phones and apps, so we didn't think much would happen. So we started talking through the app and at first nothing happened. We would get responses, but nothing substantial or even relevant. That wasn't until the last session that made me delete the app. I should preface me and my friend are both Christian, but we do love the paranormal as we've both had experiences that we can't deny. On the app we were using it gave levels of the spirit, so level 1 was light entity, level 2 was medium entity, and level 3 was negative, high entity. On the last session it was on level 3. And it started off with random non-relevant responses and my friend said, "Let's just turn it off," and what came through the app was, "Girls." We both stopped and just looked at each other. So we continued for a while and continued to get pretty accurate responses. Curiosity, ceiling, suburban, female, and then it took a turn for the worst. It said, beast. I couldn't make out what it said at first, but I asked it for repeat itself and it said demon. At this point I felt sick and my head was pounding. I told it to leave if it wasn't of light and love, God, the Father, and Holy Spirit. It told me no. I repeated what I said and it left. My friend and I left the apartment with her dog and went on a walk for a good hour. When we got back to the apartment I felt like we were being watched and the blinds moved. She turned the air off when we left and her husband was at work, but it looked like someone was peeping through the blinds waiting for us to get home. She looked at me and told she had a pounding headache, the same as me. When we stepped into the apartment the air was heavy and I felt sick like I was going to keel over. We walked around the apartment praying for about 20 minutes when the air lifted and it felt 1,000 times lighter. That night, however, I experienced sleep paralysis for the very first time. I could move slightly, but not much. I didn't see anything, but it was like the entire apartment was vibrating. I could see and feel it. I also heard a growling in my ear. I don't know how long it lasted, but everything subsided after a while. I went into a panic attack. That was the one and only time I experienced something like that. I deleted the app and haven't used it since. I now firmly believe that they can manipulate phones, but that was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. I told my mom about it and the only thing she said was, with the headaches, it could have been trying to possess you. If you're doing any investigations, just be careful. I still have the recording, but I haven't listened to it since that day. All I can say is if you're doing any type of investigation be careful because you never know what you're going to encounter or experience. These stories in today's video are meant to be true, it is up to you if you choose to believe them. Thank you for choosing this video to watch, I very much appreciate it.